Of good basketball games on. A lot of good basketball games on that I would like to go over and talk about. First and foremost, I'm going to talk about my Warriors taking down the Milwaukee Bucks 120 to 113. I was actually very impressed with the Milwaukee Bucks all day long. 54% from the field, 44% from three. I thought they shot the three ball very well. I was very impressed with Kyle Kuzma off the bench. Ryan Rollins, I thought, in his kind of revenge game against the Warriors, played very good basketball. And don't forget Giannis, 34, 10, 5, and 2. Not a lot of defensive statistics, but at the end of the day, this game came down primarily to the second and third quarter, which was dominated by the Golden State Warriors, specifically our main guys. Steph Curry, 31 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds. Draymond Green finally had a good game that he didn't get himself ejected from. Praise the Lord, Draymond didn't get ejected. 14 points, 7 assists, 3 rebounds. We needed a good Draymond Green, and he stepped up. He stepped up when we needed him to. Jimmy continues to get to the free throw line, but I will say 1 for 5 from 3. Stop taking so many threes, Jimmy, and if you're going to take them, hit them. But I want to give my MVP shout out of the game, DeAnthony Melton, coming off the bench, shot 8 for 12 from the field, 5 for 9 from 3. Him, Podziemski, Al Horford. I thought our bench unit was absolutely the reason we won this game. They came in, completely outplayed the other team's bench. I know that Kuzma on paper had a good game. Gary Trent did not have a good game on paper, but the second unit for the Warriors between DeAnthony Melton's shooting, Podziemski's ball handling, and ability to play with anyone around him on the basketball court, and Al Horford not only scoring the ball well, but being a post playmaker and rebounder was exactly what we needed next to Draymond Green. This was the Warriors team that we've been looking at, but I will say Jonathan Kuminga, another DMP coach's decision. Buddy Hield, DMP coach's decision. Trace Jackson Davis, DMP coach's decisions. I cannot believe we're finding a time where Guy Santos is able to give us a plus 12 plus minus on the game, and Jonathan Kuminga is getting DNP coaches' decisions. Very unfortunate. Hoping Kuminga gets traded very, very soon. In a nail-biting closing game that Emmanuel quickly hit a game-winning three-point shot to beat the Charlotte Hornets 97 to 96, extending the Raptors to 8 games over 500. I want to give a big shout out to a guy that I was very skeptical of during the draft process and was skeptical of after they drafted him. Colin Murray Boyles over the past couple of games has shown to be a very impactful player in very different ways. And I think that's the kind of young player that you look at and you say, this is someone that, we like. If you're a young rebuilding team and you're looking at an Anthony Davis trade, or you're looking at a point guard, John Morant trade, I am a team looking to make a big time splash. I want Colin Murray Boyles back in a trade because he has been awesome in the past couple games. 17.7 rebounds, 7 assists in a win against Atlanta. And then only 4 points, but in 32 minutes, 15 rebounds. He did exactly what Scotty Barnes was normally doing when he started at the center position. But Scotty was running kind of the off-ball. I don't know. This game was very weird watching it because it felt like RJ Barrett was doing so much shooting and scoring. Emmanuel Quickly was doing so much perimeter scoring. They weren't really getting into the paint much. Now, I will say credit to Moussa Diabate, guys like Tajon Salon. I thought they did a very solid job in the interior defense for the Charlotte Hornets. But man, Scotty Barnes. I mean, this team shot terribly from the field and obviously won off a game winner, but because of their defense and overall rebounding, 15 rebounds for Colin Murray Boyles, 7 rebounds for RJ Barrett. Brandon Ingram went down with an injury halfway through this one. But Jamal Shed came in and played great minutes. Mamu played great minutes off the bench for them. 10 points, good shooting, but not a rebounding guy because Colin Murray Boyles was all over the place. Was so impressed with what I saw from him. Love what I'm seeing out of Toronto recently. Very much hoping that they make a splash come the trade deadline. In Beef Stew's best game of the season, Isaiah Stewart drops 31 points on 14 for 17 from the field. Who would have thought that Isaiah Stewart would lead this team in scoring? But no Jalen Duren, no Cade Cunningham. They needed an offensive spark plug, and it was none other than Isaiah Stewart. 31 points in 30 minutes, a +9 plus minus. But the reason the Pistons dominated this one was because if you look at that bench unit, +20 for Dennis Jenkins, +16 for Chaz Lanier, +16 for Javonte Green, +12 for Ron Holland. These guys came in and absolutely dominated the second unit. You can see Ayo Dosunmu off the bench led the Bulls in scoring, 24 points, but a -20 plus minus. That bench unit was really struggling. This team with no Josh Giddey, no Kobe White, really struggles with their offensive production. Vucevic and Modest played well, but when you have no guard playmakers, I know Tre Jones was, a good playmaker, but he shot bad from the field. You don't love a Tre Jones and Kevin Huerter backcourt, especially if Isaac Okoro is your starting three. But the Pistons continue on with the number 1 seed in the East with a 108-93 win. The Philadelphia 76ers beat the Wizards. I do want to give credit to one guy who I feel like a lot of people counted him out as of recent, but he's been coming back and playing really good basketball, and that's Paul George. I know he's on a crazy, crazy contract, so that's why a lot of Sixers fans don't love him, but Paul George, 23 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 7 of 11 from the field. Look at that starting lineup. Look at all these pluses here. Plus 27, plus 20, plus 27, plus 22, plus 25. Starting lineup absolutely dominated. VJ Edgecombe's getting more comfortable with the ball in his hands. Tyrese Maxey's still a great scorer. Quentin Grimes off the bench did exactly what you expect. Would love to see Jared McCain get a couple more minutes a game. I would say that 11 minutes when, Kelly Oubre is getting 20. I'd love to see McCain get in this game a little bit more, but 21-point win, absolutely dominated this one for the Sixers over the Wizards, who just made a big trade that we talked about earlier. How about Jamal Murray and Peyton Watson in the entire bench unit of the Nuggets? Give it up for the Denver Nuggets. Going into Boston and having a fourth quarter comeback to win this game. Was so impressed with what I saw from Denver. I didn't get to watch too much of the game live, but I watched a lot of it afterwards. 22 points, 17 assists to 2 turnovers, man, for Jamal Murray. I mean, talk about what you want to say. Nikola Jokic has never had an all-star next to him technically in the NBA. Jamal Murray is so good with the ball in his hands. He's such a good player. I'm just so impressed every year, which it feels like he continues developing his game. Led the Nuggets in rebounding yesterday. He was clashing the glass, was doing everything for this Nuggets team. I know it shows he had 22 points. He really didn't have to score that much in this one to win the game, just clutch shooting at the end. Because guys like Tim Hardaway, Zeke Naji was getting coach's decision DMPs. Now he's getting real valuable 25 minutes a game. Aaron Gordon still on his minutes restriction, 12 points off the bench. Shout out Peyton Watson though, man. Dude has become a sharp shooter over the past couple weeks. Look at this. Look at his most recent since Jokic has gone down. 30, 24, 23, 21, 24, 11, 15. I mean, this dude has taken a huge leap since Nikola Jokic has gone down, and I very much hope that that continues when Jokic comes back, because they really need guys like Peyton Watson to stay hot from specifically three-point range into the playoffs. As for the Celtics, I wouldn't think that badly about this game. I know it's a home loss isn't great, but man, Sam Hauser played bad. Nemez Keita played bad. They went with a different lineup than normal, putting Hauser in the starting lineup. I didn't love that. I would have loved to see them keep Jordan Walsh in the lineup. I thought his defense was too good. He would have been a great defender for a guy like Peyton Watson. But they brought in Sam Hauser just for the shooting. Didn't think he brought much to this team. Whereas guys like I thought, Anthony Simons off the bench. Hugo Gonzalez continues to impress me just by being a winning player. He's all over the court, always being a winning player. But Celtics lose a fourth quarter comeback to the Denver Nuggets. The Atlanta Hawks, although they traded their star player, Trae Young, right in the third quarter of this game, they end up taking almost 17-point win. They held the Pelicans to just 13 points in the third quarter. That defense, man, is the reason why they traded Trae Young. Look at this lineup. Defensive studs. They shot 38% from 3, and they dominated this game. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 2 for 12 from 3, still put up 17 and a plus 16 plus minus. It shows you his impact on this team. Specifically his size and defensive ability in the backcourt with Dyson Daniels. Those two are defensive masters. I mean, it is impressive what we're seeing out of them. Jalen Johnson, 19, 8, and 5. Mohamed Goy, I forget how you say it, but 10 and 11 and 6 assists. I was so impressed with his game. Porzingis off the bench, giving you a good 22 minutes. Atlanta Hawks didn't have to do that much to win this one. As for the Pelicans, inserting Jordan Poole into the starting lineup completely takes away everything that what you're trying to do with putting Jeremiah Fears in the starting lineup. So let's make sure to not do that again, New Orleans, because that's hurting the development of your young guys. And then Derek Queen, 19 minutes in this one in the revenge game against Atlanta, quote unquote. He was posting all over social media. Okay, buddy. My game of the day was the Orlando Magic Brooklyn Nets game. Now, since I'm here in New York, I got to get this on the Yes Network for free. Was watching the second half into the fourth quarter this one. This was the Egor Demin breakout game. If y'all know Egor Demin, you know I like him. He's a young point guard, 8th overall pick for the Brooklyn Nets. Dude was incredible. Sent this team to overtime, hit some clutch threes in the fourth quarter. Not only that, but this team went down to start overtime, and he hit what I thought was going to be the game-winning shot in this one, a bank three-pointer to put them up by 2 points. I was so impressed with Egor Demin, his shot creation, his confidence, just really the confidence, man. For a young player to come in with a guy like Michael Porter Jr. on your team shooting 18 threes in this one. Noah Clowney not shooting the ball well. No one really shooting the ball well. Cam Thomas, by the way, starting to finally lose value in basketball. Interesting to see Cam Thomas becoming not really a guy for Brooklyn anymore. But man, Egor Demin continues to shine. 18, 5, and 5. He's still taking all three-point shots. Can we get this guy a layup, please? Can we get this guy an off-ball screen layup? But it came down to Paolo missed the three-pointer to win this game in regulation. It was a bad air ball, bad shot. But then to end overtime with a couple seconds left on the clock, he hits a bank three where I thought his foot was on the line, but it really wasn't, to give him 30 points and the game-winning three-point shot against the Brooklyn Nets. Super, super impressed with that shot by Paolo. I thought he had a fine game overall, but 9 turnovers, man. Paolo's really got to become a better playmaker if you're going to have the ball in your hands this much, because 9 turnovers is way too much for any forward in basketball. But 14 rebounds, he's starting to assert himself again in the rebounding column, which is where I've been saying guys like Paolo are going to take the steps statistically. Evan Mobley is going to take the steps statistically. It's from their rebounding. But 30 points, the only 1 3 he made was the game-winning bank 3. Shout out to Paolo Banchero for holding off the Brooklyn Nets in what I thought was going to be the Egor Demin huge breakout game for them. But no, Paolo ruins it in Brooklyn in a 104-103 game-winning three-point bank shot win for none other than Orlando Magic. Okay, next up we have Knicks Clippers. I'm going to be honest, I didn't get to catch much of this one, so I'm just going to do a quick box score rundown. Kawhi with 25, Harden with 23, Zubac with 22. Very interested to see, by the way, if Zubac gets moved or traded come the trade deadline, because I know there's a lot of teams interested in centers, and with the Clippers struggling, 10 games under 500, Zubac is definitely a name to look out for in that. But looks like the starters and bench players absolutely just won this game for the New York Knicks, who dominated the second half of this one. What is that? 72 points to the Clippers, 55 in the second half. So big jump for them. Shout out Jalen Brunson. The whole starting lineup of New York played absolutely great. Good efficiency, 50% from the field, 42% from 3, 88 from the line is exactly what you'd want if you're a guy like Mike Brown. Every starter in double figures, 15 plus, honestly, for every starter. Look at that. Jalen Brunson, 26 points on just 12 shots. He took the second least amount of shots of the starting lineup, and the Knicks still dominated this one. Good win for the New York Knicks over the Clippers last night. To follow that up, Thunder Jazz. This game turned into to be a way closer game than it really should have been, and Shea dominated in overtime. Walter Clayton did hit a nasty three-point shot that almost gave them the win, but Chet was getting offensive rebounds. Chet was dominating the glass in this one. 5 offensive rebounds, 7 defensive, 23 points, 12 rebounds in this one, but it came down to clutch shot making. Even though I thought Keontae George, Larry Markin, and Walter Clayton, Yusuf Nurkic, I thought these guys put up a great fight in this one. It came down to clutch shooting, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 46 points, 17 of 19 from the free throw line. No turnovers. You guys see that? You want to talk about greatness, man? 46 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, primary ball handler, 42 minutes played, 0 turnovers, man. That is so impressive to see from your top guard, because if we're comparing him to guys like Kobe, D. Wade, Allen Iverson, the greatest guards of our growing up generations, SGA is just kind of different. He's just different in the way he moves, the way he gets to the line. His shot from 3 wasn't falling, but if you see, no one's shot from 3 was falling for OKC. They only had 7 3-pointers made, 18%, and they still found a way to win a really ugly, ugly win. Thunder were almost in jeopardy of losing 3 in a row, which would have been crazy to say out loud, because a month ago we were saying this is going to be the best team ever. But they were in jeopardy of losing 3 straight, but they closed out a tough win against the Jazz last night. I watched a lot of this game last night. The San Antonio Spurs took down the Lakers, and what I got to say, this did not have to do much with the San Antonio Spurs starters. If you see, their starters did play really well, but I thought the bench unit is really what came in and changed this game around. Keldon Johnson specifically, 27 points, 11 of 13. It was funny, they did an interview with him talking about how his role has changed from being kind of the number 1 guy for a little bit in San Antonio to now he's like a role player, energy guy off the bench. He loves his role, man. He loves coming in off the bench, being in that dunker spot, playing the pick and roll. not really having to be a ball handler much, but just being handed passes from guys like De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Good win for the Spurs, but the Lakers really just struggled offensively. And we know if the Lakers struggle offensively, they're not going to win many games. Jackson Hayes with 10 points, Jake Gorevy with 16, and Luka with 38, 10, and 10. That was the only players over 10 points in this one. That is not a recipe for success if you're the Los Angeles Lakers. And lastly, we have to talk about Deni Avdija. Man, Deni was traded from the Washington Wizards to the Blazers, and dude has been 26 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists this year. He's 13th in scoring. Dude has been a stud since being traded to Rip City. They're now only 2 games under 500. Their defense played great, other than the one play where they left... They left Caleb Love wide open from 3 at the end of this one. Good foul call, by the way. I know there was a controversial call where... they didn't call it a foul. I thought it was a foul. The guy jumped. I think it was Tari Eason jumped over the one dude's back and then knocked it out of bounds late in this one. I'm surprised they reviewed it and then also said that wasn't a foul. Tari Eason was half a fingernail away from winning the Houston Rockets this game. He literally had his hand in a tip off that Kevin Durant missed the game winner, a little bit left. Tari Eason jumped with his right hand, tried to tip it in last second, but his right here, this middle finger was still touching the ball right here with 0 on the clock, and Tari Eason technically missed the game-winning field goal, but 15 points, 13 rebounds. He's been one of those guys that's kind of in and out of the rotation here in Houston. He's on the bench. He's in the starting lineup. He's kind of been all over the place just because of the amount of good players that this team really has. Like if you see a month ago, he was getting 11 minutes, 16 minutes, 18 minutes, but as of recent, he's been back up to his 30-minute mark, playing good basketball for them again, really being a hound defensively and crashing the glass, which is, who would have thought a Houston Rockets player is good at crashing the glass and playing defense, right? Especially this iteration of the Rockets. But Portland Trailblazers with Shaedon Sharpe on 20 points. Deni, 41 points. All-star, that man, Deni. 41 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Chumani Kamara played a good game. Caleb Love off the bench continues to be a spark plug out of Arizona. They love him, man. They love him they love this guy, Caleb Love, and I can't lie. I think he's a very good basketball player. I see why they like him. But Blazers, 103-102 win for them over Houston. Brings Houston to 10 games over 500. Blazers, 2 games under 500. And lastly, I did do a video earlier, but I'm going to redo it again, talking about the Trae Young and CJ McCollum trade right here, grading the trade. Official Trae Young was traded to the Washington Wizards for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Grading trades from 2026, Trae Young dealt from Hawks to Wizards. Yes. So they gave this trade a B for both sides. It is kind of crazy what this deal means for the Hawks. Less than 5 years ago, the Hawks reached this conference finals behind Trae Young. Seemed like it was the start of a run for Atlanta, but it peaked there. It peaked when Ben Simmons didn't dunk the ball. They had high expectations, and they added Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Kristaps Porzingis. Both of them have been very good, but yeah, Atlanta is 2-8 in the 10 games Trae Young played this year. They brought in 2 off-ball players. I'm very happy about this trade if I am the Atlanta Hawks, because they bring in CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. I think are both very good fits. They don't need the ball in their hand to be successful. CJ McCollum is a late-game shot creator, which is kind of what you want out of this guy, because that's what Trae Young was on this offense. But it allows them to keep playing the same offense. They've been that team-oriented offense, swinging the ball around. Guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dyson Daniels primarily running the ball handling, whereas CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert are very active players even when they don't have the ball in their hands. We have not been able to say that the same about Trae Young over his young career. Trae has never been an off-ball guy. He's always been more valuable with the ball in his hands. Now, mind you, he is a very bad defender. I will say, I think the hate on Trae Young has gone too far to the point where I cannot believe that the Wizards or the Hawks did not get any draft capital back in a Trae Young trade, but they get the money of CJ McCollum, where if the McCollum fit doesn't work out over the next couple weeks, they would be very willing to flip him in probably an Anthony Davis deal. I think Corey Kispert is there to stay, though. I think Corey Kispert fits what, the Kyle Korver role in Atlanta kind of vibe. I feel like they're going to want to keep him around. So as for Atlanta, I would say technically the team got better because of a better fit. And I think that just that will help out the progression of guys like Jalen Johnson with the ball in his hands more, Dyson Daniels with the ball in his hands more, and they won't have the defensive liability of Trae Young when they are such a good defensive team when he's not on the court. But speaking for Washington, I mean, what a deal. You couldn't have asked for anything better if you're a Washington Wizards fan, man. You've got guys like Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, Alex Sarr. All three are good defensive players, and players that are growing. They're growing into the player they're going to become. Trae Johnson was the 6th overall pick out of Texas from this past NBA draft. He's a great shot creator. He's a great deep three-point shooter. I cannot wait to see how many 40 feet three-point shots are chucked from Trae Young and Trae Johnson. We're calling them TNT. That's their new nickname in Washington, TNT. But I really love this trade for Washington. They've really struggled with playmaking this year. They have not had a lot of great ball handlers and guys that you trust with the ball in their hand late in game. Like Bub Carrington. I love me some, I don't really love me some Bub Carrington, but when I really look at this team, they were desperately in need for a point guard, desperately in need. They were charting Bub Carrington. AJ Johnson was getting some minutes. It was really Keyshawn George was getting their main ball handling minutes, but now they have Trae Young, who's going to come in, be a probably guaranteed 20 and 10 every single night, right? Although he's not a great perimeter defender, I can tell you he's not that much worse than Bub. And he's not that much worse than a guy like Sharif Cooper, Malachi Branham, or AJ Johnson, right? You have old guy like Chris Middleton's your starting power forward. You're not looking at this team and saying there should be a good defensive team. But for the growth of their young guys, Keyshawn George's, the world, Bilal Coulibaly's, Alex Sarr's, I love this fit for Trae Young in Washington. He's going to have the ball in his hands majority of the time. He's going to get that max extension that he definitely wanted. When he came out and said Washington was his preferred destination, I wanted to let people know that had nothing more to do with just money, right? He's up for a contract extension soon. He wants a team that's going to pay him. This is a young team with money that will pay Trae Young very, very soon. I love it for secondary ball handler Keyshawn George. I think he's going to learn a lot about the playmaking game alongside a guy like Trae Young. He's also a very underrated off-ball player, and I think Keyshawn George is going to really jump. So if you're a card guy, I would say Keyshawn George would be a guy I would want to start buying in the basketball community. And the same thing can be said for starting center number 2 overall pick Alex Sarr. Remember, Alex Sarr openly, publicly came out and said, I do not want to be an Atlanta Hawk, and that's why he's a Wizard. And now it's funny that they have him and Trae Young combined together. Alex Sarr, I think, is going to make a big jump. I think we're going to see him start being, I mean, he's already 17 and 8. I think we could get him to around 20 and 10 very, very soon. If he continues shooting the ball well, I mean, it's really if he's going to keep taking, only 2 3-pointers in a game, or is he going to get up to 5 3-pointers in a game? Is he going to be able to get to the free throw line efficiently, or is he going to keep having these games with just no free throw attempts, right? I think Trae Young is going to really unlock Alex Sarr, not only in the pick and roll, 1-2 punch on pick and rolls, but as a shot creator, because the floor will be a little bit more spaced out with a guy like Trae Young there. And I think Alex Sarr is a guy that would really benefit from that. I love the trade for both teams. I will say if I'm Atlanta, it's very sad to trade a guy with the name value of Trae Young and not get any draft capital back. So I would be upset that you didn't get even Sadiq Bey was traded for 5 second-round picks. Gary Payton Jr. the second was traded for a couple second-round picks. You couldn't get Washington to throw you 3 second-round picks in this trade. That surprises me a lot, but Washington has done a great job with this rebuild so far since the newer management has come in, and I really like what I'm seeing from them. Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George, Trae Johnson, Bilal, Cam Whitmore still on the bench, Will Riley off the bench. I like what they're building over here. It feels like it feels like almost like when Donovan Mitchell emerged in Utah, right? You got like this 1-2 punch of Mitchell and Gobert, and they're about to have this big run in the regular season. I feel that coming soon for Washington. I don't think it'll be this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if they finish around 35-ish wins this year, and then come next year, play-in / possible playoff team in the West and the Eastern Conference. Washington Wizards, they need it. Who benefits from Trae Young? Almost everyone. I hate to say it, almost everyone offensively does. Alex Sarr, Keyshawn George definitely are going to benefit. I think that Trae Johnson might have to take a step back a little bit because he's more of a shooter / play, actual shot creator. But Trae Young is officially a member of the Washington Wizards, and CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert have been moved to the Atlanta Hawks. Can't wait to see Trae Young's first game in Washington. I'll definitely be reporting on that when that happens. But a great day of basketball yesterday. Not only did we get our big first splash trade of the year, but we had a lot of great games happen. Shout out to SGA for being probably the MVP of the day yesterday. Denny for hitting a couple big shots for the Blazers in that close win. Paolo Banchero for hitting the game-winning three-pointer. Egor, Demin for getting them that close. Jamal Murray for a 17-assist game. And Isaiah Stewart with the 31-point game. Emmanuel Quickley with the game winner. And Steph Curry being Steph Curry.